Hi, everyone. Please take your seats. So we have with us Emily Achieng. She is from Kenya, but is based in Switzerland. She is a software engineer and DevOps, and she previously gave a talk at the first ever GopherCon South Africa.
Yeah.
Today she's with us in London, so she's going to tell us about Go Module Hygiene. Please welcome Emily.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining. And it's quite a pleasure and honor to be speaking in front of you. I've attended a couple of GopherCons, and I'm really much excited to be able to speak today. I have worked in Go in the server side as well as in the cloud native space, with Kubernetes. And I'll try to share some of the experiences, especially with dependencies, and I hope we can be able to relate. So thanks so much for joining. So have you ever experienced a situation where when you start a project or you keep everything is neat and tidy, and after some time you get to drown in that dependency, like it's some sort of a wild jungle, and you just don't know how to control your imports or just your models. And I've been there myself, and it took some seemingly innocent just update on Go module that took a whole day just trying to resolve some of the issues. So that experience hammered what we're going to talk about today, Go modules. So this presentation is not just about the technical steps, but it's about sharing the developer experiences that can be related to those kind of headaches, and also in order to ensure our Go projects are functional, maintainable, and also secure in the long run. So let's talk about our dependency journeys. Thank you. So a little bit about me, as you just mentioned, I am Emily from Kenya. I am based in Switzerland, and during my free time, I enjoy also exploring parks and nature, which Switzerland happens to offer both. And nice to meet you all. So our agenda for today is we'll start by understanding this we call it dynamic duo, go.mod and the go.sum. So these are our unsung heroes. They try to keep our dependencies organized and making sure our project stays in check. And they're kind of a quiet, diligent library. Think of it like a library. When how a library operates, the library keeps track of it's most sort of like an inventory, keeping track of the books that are going and coming in, or books that are borrowed or lost. So we have this kind of situation, but with dependencies. We'll also talk about spotting some of the symptoms, when do you know your Go modules need some attention? This could be things like the slow builds and to those kind of mysterious or hair-pulling errors that you might encounter or face. And another is also how do you tidy up or cleaning up your dependencies when you are facing a situation where you need to you need your project to be efficient. So we'll talk about some cases which that can happen, and also with trimming dependencies. Sometimes you can have dependencies that you no longer need, and you want to just stay with dependencies that you actually want in a project. And later on, we also look at the security patrols, guarding against the vulnerabilities that come with the dependencies, and also against the supply chain attacks. So working with dependencies, you think about it it's like a window or a door, and you're allowing so much into your project. How can you ensure your project is very secure? You try to keep a lock to be able to ensure it's working and efficient. And the other is also like some of the sustainable practices that will help to keep your modules in great shape. So even as your project grows and evolves. And lastly, we also think about like the automation, like tools and workflow for your projects. So let's try to understand the go.mod. So the go.mod is like, think about it like a meticulous product manager. So he is responsible for ensuring like, oh, these are your teammates, this is what your project is about, and trying to see like and aligning everyone in the same page. So in the same way, the go.sum is more of a vigilant security guard. So it tries to verify like nothing has been tampered on. For instance, like think about it more of making sure nothing was secretly tampered with. If we didn't have this kind of file, someone could just take a dependency and make a change, and this will lead to like some of the exploiting. So together they are like a dynamic duo, ensuring security, consistency, and reliability across different environments. So as we have known, they are like our unsung heroes. They are not just boring configs or boring like lines of code. They are working hand in hand to ensure like they're like the bedrock or foundation of our reproducible builds. So, and they are like our first line of defense against attack whenever they occur. And they're very much important in keeping our projects clean and trusted whenever we're working with something vital. So let's start with the first one. So even though they are heroes, even heroes get overwhelmed sometimes. And you can have a situation where, for example, we have this. An example is this go.mod file. You can see like there are all dependencies or some parts which are in use. So let's say you have an apartment and you keep adding things and accumulating them, some on the table, chair, bed, everywhere. So it ends up becoming messy in the same way like we have this go.mod file. At first you have like packages and then another, it becomes like a project becomes cluttered with so many old versions. And these old versions are like creating conflicts maybe when it could carry some of the hidden security vulnerabilities. So each of these can be also like a clutter in your department in the same way you have like all dependencies or another use which are not used. What are some of the symptoms again? Slower builds. So when you try to build your projects and you take a coffee break, you come back, it's still building, and you try to distract yourself by probably going on a walk or exchanging some emails, and then you come back, it's still building. Another example is also like you extend that coffee break to even lunch hours, it's still building. So this kind of situation where building is taking forever, it's just still building, it means like you need to pay a lot more attention. It could be a huge warning sign to be able to check, like, why is it taking forever to just build this project? It could be something, the reason could be some of the unused conflicting dependencies, or Go is trying to sift through some of the packages and download them and making sure that leads to like the building times to crawl as well. Another symptom is like ballooning binary size. So you could be having a very small project, and so imagine your application is very tiny, and suddenly it's asking for extra storage. Like you need, like, it's asking for like its own storage plan. Why is it like this? It's because of the ballooning of binary size. So it could be importing, like it could be importing parts of the functions from, let's say, a huge library and trying to take the whole library into bundling it into like an executable, which makes the deployment heavier and also like slower, and that can also lead to higher memory and higher memory usage, and this also like not very efficient. That's why like you also need to look into it when you spot this sign. And another aspect is mysterious errors. So when can this happen? Like, for instance, you make a small change in an application and suddenly unrelated parts are falling apart. For instance, like it can send a panic message whenever like you make a small change, or it worked yesterday, it worked on my machine, things like that. So it could be also, so with dependencies, it comes with the direct or transitive ones, like indirect ones. So they could be fighting against each other and causing this kind of unexpected behavior and a panic. So when you when you experience this, it's also like a mysterious error which you do not know where it's coming from. It could be also like one of the signs to check on. And the other thing is also dependency conflicts. So dependency conflicts is when you have a version and parts of your projects are asking for different version. Like one part is asking for, let's say, version 1, another part is asking for version 2. So Go is kind of left with that difficult choice to be able to see, like, and that can lead to our runtime errors because of the versions that are conflicting. And this is also like one other nightmare to debug. As we have seen, with the dependency bloating, it's like a cluttering garage when you have like so many things in your garage and you're trying to look for what you want. It can be very difficult because there's so many unused bills that are just staying there and they're not really being used. And this also is a way more like an easy entry point for attacks whenever they come. So when you run these kind of outdated dependencies and they take so much space and make it really hard and difficult to be able to debug and to be able to find what exactly is wrong with your project. So when you're able to recognize like this kind of thing, it means like your modules need some attention as well. And how about like security vulnerabilities? So as we have mentioned, working with dependencies means like you are working, it's like a door, a window, like you are allowing a lot of things into your application. And you want to ensure like you have a proper lock. So when you have like dependencies that are outdated, it's like you're leaving the window unlocked and you expect like burglars not to like enter in. So also having that in mind will be able to keep your dependencies and identify like if there's an old version, it needs like that kind of attention to be updated as well. So this is also enough to be able to spot as a symptom. And this is also like slightly different, but it means you have a module can be found, but it is missing some part of the package. So this can lead to build inconsistency. So the module is found, but why is it asking for like a certain package that version 2 that it relies on? So this also leads to version conflicts that can lead to build errors and slow down your dependency or development processes. So with that in mind, how do you try to clean up? There are many different ways depending on like different cases, like go.mod build, go.mod tidy. So take this as the first line of defense. For instance, when you have so many clothes and you're doing like kind of spring cleaning, you try to sort out the clothes that you want, and then you sort out the ones that you want to donate. Is the same way with the go.mod Tiny. Your project is actually going through a lot of changes and evolution. For instance, there could be a feature that was shipped months ago, or like a refactoring that was done, and it could be having more like a dead weight, taking all the space that you need. So when you go through, when you use this, it's more like a first line of defense, and it helps you to shrink up some of the binary size, some items that you don't need, and speed up your building so that Go has nothing to worry about. And how about Go? This is also one of the helpful ways. So let's say you go to a party and you invite people. So working with dependencies is like inviting things to your project. So when you have a party, you invite your friends, their friends invite their friends as well. Their friends, again, invite their friends. In the end, you will have a full room full of people you probably don't know. And working with the graph will kind of help you to map. You try to see like, okay, this dependency is coming from directly in the project. This is coming indirectly because it's linked to the other. So when you have it, it will give you some sort of a social network of, it's like a circle or dependency, a tree, so that every single model in your project is you're able to map it, and whenever issues arise or something sneaks into your projects, you can easily know and try to debug it as well. And another also, how do you also try to clean up? You can use the dependency with the go.mod Y. So this can help you to understand like, why is this dependency here? Very much important for like onboarding processes. It can help also to know like the exact path to which like the module is going through. Are there intermediary dependencies that are coming in? It also shows you like who or what, and answers some of the why questions. So it also empowers you to make informed decisions rather than just blindly like debugging. And with the list, or think of it like also another way, depending on the project, to be able to at least see everything in your module is going through. It's like a magnifying glass. So you can initially sweep through and see like, this project is also depending on this, and so like transitive. It's more like an eye opener to fully scope what the project is actually about. With that, you can be able to see like everything, your dependencies or modules, which are direct and indirect as well. So for pinning, I think about pinning is when stability is more crucial. When you think about like ensuring you just need this exact version, for instance, in the CI/CD pipeline. So you don't want to build suddenly something that will break a pipeline because it's incompatible, or just having it's like telling Go to just use this kind of version and not to be inconsistent. So in that situation where you want to have like a very consistent version in your project, and you don't want like something to fail in the long run, you can use like the pinning. And for instance, someone is working on old local cache, and a lot of changes have happened with the CI pipeline. It will be able to ensure like you have a stable version that has been pinned, and everything else will be able to save you countless hours of debugging. And more of that is just like how do you also clean up like when you're working with different environments. Let's say like you have a local copy, you have a forked version, and you could be trying to work with different dependencies in different environments. So you just point it to a specific environment to be able to swap like dependencies, let's say for the local version and let's say for the forked version that have not been merged. And it's all about like just being mindful and not being able to mix up a lot of dependencies that are on different environments to like reduce also like runtime errors that come with it. So one important thing we should also remember is when we're working with dependencies, so think about dependencies as like, as you've just mentioned, you're inviting a lot of things to your project. First thing you should ask is, do I really need? Of course, this might not be the case, but this is the most obvious, but there could be instances which are not obvious. So this is like working with a third-party package, and you just need to ask yourself, do I really need that package? Or is the Go standard library able to cover like most of the needs that I want? So to avoid just using a lot of the third-party packages, you should also like scan through and see like Go standard library is actually able to do this without me needing a package or an extra dependency. With that, you also reduce a lot of unnecessary blotting, and you also embrace that kind of simplicity, which means like you have very few external dependencies, resulting into better performance, and also like a few surface area for like security vulnerabilities as well. And when working with packages, so before adding a dependencies, what do you need to check? So a lot of things is on the internet, and most important is the maintenance. So when you look at a package online, you can look at, is it actively being developed? Or when was the last commit? When was the, like, are there like open issues that are there? Things like that. And also like with the API dependencies, API stabilities, like are there breaking changes that occur? Is the API well documented in the long run? And a lot of the crucial things or crucial questions you need to ask. Are there issues being addressed, or are there like an amount of stars or contributors? So of course, like you don't just pick something because it's cool. You also need to ensure like it is well maintained, or maintained at least. Whenever a critical bug comes up, like you at least also like have this community support. Like the good signs could be the result comments, clear documentation, active issues. The bad sign, maybe you're using a package that was last updated years ago, and there are lots of unresolved bugs. So whenever there's an issue, that means you will be on your own. Like you don't have like any sort of help to be able to know like how to go about it. So you can choose stability or well supported maintenance as well when working with the dependencies. That's why community aspect is also very, very important. And let's also talk about like regular pruning. So your dependencies also like need regular reviews. This is why. So you can try and schedule reviewing like as part of your development cycle. So this is more like a habit. It should not be a one heroic act. It's just be like small steps in order to see like a new especially when new versions come up, you try to like regularly check and ensure like this is more of a habit instead of like just waiting for one moment to make like that heroic change. And as we also saw go.mod tidy, it's like the first line of defense. So regularly also review that, and also like with the go.mod file for any kind of outdated dependencies that might be in your project. So try to update everything at once. When you're trying to update everything at once, it becomes like very difficult and terrifying. So, and it can be also like time consuming, but just regular habits will keep your projects healthy and probably easy to maintain as well. So one of the crucial things is security when working with dependencies. Your dependency is like a door to your application, and each dependency, you need to have a proper lock to ensure like it's actually working well. So always have in mind this kind of threat landscape, like you're allowing things into your project. So how can you ensure like you have a proper lock by not allowing outdated versions or like vulnerable parts of the library that are also like malicious updates or just like old packages that could easily be exploited as well. So have this in mind to regularly also like check those kind of doors that you allow and ensure like it is very strong and up to date and still doing the job, because you are allowing things into your, like you're allowing, when you work with the package, you're allowing things into your application. And for the supply chain attacks, so whenever trusted packages also like can actually get compromised, something that is very much used. So you should also like look at this as one of the risks that is involved. So that's like when you have a package that is used and trusted, it can get compromised sometimes, and without you realizing, because you trusted also this package, and this means you allowed it into your project. So you should also ensure like you regularly have that in mind. And with the non-vulnerabilities, most of these packages are online on Git, let's say, and people always put issues like, oh, there's a security issue here. And that also means like a lot of malicious or anyone can just use that weak point to be able to explore. So always also have that in mind, like when you're working in a package with a package or a dependency, like anything can also happen. Like the security bugs can also be taken advantage of because it's just online and someone is looking at the issues that and using that weak point to be able to exploit. And let's also look at scanning. When you are working with dependencies, you can also use scanning as a way, like you can scan your code and dependencies for vulnerabilities, especially with Git. So think of it like an automated security patrol. So it will know how to lock, and it will never get tired. And so when you probably put this, it can also be a great help to your project in order to know like parts of the like it can be able to easily run it and quickly like set up and catch for you problems early before it gets too late. And who has used go.mod vendor? Yeah, so how does it work? It's like creating a copy, yeah. So it's like creating a copy, a cache of your dependencies when you need like this means like you have like absolute control over your dependencies. So you don't have to pull it directly from when you need it. You don't have to pull it from the external sources during the build. So you have like a local copy there where you just pull it, but of course that means you'll be the one to update it, but just creates you that kind of local dependencies. And it's like stocking your pantry. Instead of going to the grocery, you have it stocked And everything you need is just within your control right there. So with that, it means like you just have your local copy and you have absolute control, but you also need to keep updating it whenever it's needed. So with the checksum is also like a security aspect, protecting you from the supply chain attacks. So with this, it verifies the code. When you download it, it ensures like it matches the trusted version. So if we didn't have it, people just use like any version and copy the original. So it's able to ensure you have the original trusted version that has not been tampered with. And it's like having someone in the door checking the ID and ensuring like this is the actual person who is carrying the ID. So it also protects you from the supply chain attacks. So now that we have explored some of the ways dependencies can come and how to clean up, so what are the future proof? Just also another reminder again, it's more of a habit. Building, keeping your Go modules healthy, it's a habit. It doesn't have to happen like all at once. It's more of small steps that will save you some of the headaches for tomorrow. And keeping it helps your code base to be in good shape as the project grows, and it makes you like thank the future you for the present that you have. And with just like you can have a dentist appointment, so sometimes you can just set a reminder, trying to see like how just establishing a routine to be able to also like have that sustainable way to maintain by just having that reminder, regular audits, to think of it like a routine of maintaining like your project. So it's not that exciting, but it can save you also like the pain along the road in the long run. And most importantly is automation. Of course, like we've talked about a lot of the manual processes that come with it. So with automation, you think about like integrating checks in your CI/CD pipeline. So with this, your dependencies is being checked without you doing a lot of work. It means like you don't have like a lot of the forgotten reviews, and it's just like automatic and helps to push or integrate the whole process for you as well. With that is also like another sustainable way. And most important, document. So for future references, especially with entering a project, people are entering a new project, they're able to see the design decisions that came along. They can use it as their references. Why did we have to choose this kind of version of the library? Or why did we decide against a certain like version? So this will also like help us to help like new members to be to adapt, and also like helps troubleshooting easier. Or maybe when someone inherits a project, they're able to see like the crucial parts that have been made in the whole decision. So with the documentation, it helps to like save a lot of the headache. And also test, of course, we have new version, but before you also integrate it, ensure like the new version doesn't break your app or introduce bugs by running like some kind of comprehensive test, or probably like isolating your environment. With that, you also consider like what are the manual spot checks that, especially for the crucial parts, and to be able to also understand if this is something you want to go on. So always test before also like adapting a new one. And yes, so creating habits is also like a process that I keep repeating, like it's all about just, it's not about a one-time heroic act. It's about like small, repetitive processes that helps to build that kind of healthy models in your workflow as well. So automation, of course, take care. For the whole process, let automation handle your module management. For instance, like when it's all consists for you to ensure like that consistency and reliability, you want to ensure like you can significantly reduce some of the errors. You don't have to think about them a lot, and you ensure like you easily maintain, and it frees you also like time to focus on other development practices or processes. So with automation, it's more like a reliable support, maintaining the health process of your module quietly as well. So of course, when you start a project, you always just do the go.mod tidy, which is a manual process. But yeah, it's also a good practice to use a pipeline that will just be able to fail a build if changes are detected. So having this kind of workflow will also save you a lot of time whenever like, and also like does all the tidying and without much extra effort that is needed. And also like integrate some of the tools that can help you to automate processes that are there. So because whenever you work with the dependencies, you don't have to think about like, it will help you to check without lifting a finger. And also when you also run some of the vulnerability scanning, you also like with the CI/CD pipeline, you can see some of the dependencies whenever the changes are made and you're not aware, so it will help. Auto-generate, so this, as we have mentioned, is more like just giving you an overview. When your project is growing and evolving, you get to generate more of a list. And remember, the best kind of module management is the kind you don't have to think about. That is what automation is about. So it means like it's still happening in the background even when you have not lifted a finger. And when you automate, you are keeping everything running smoothly in the background, and it can easily like help you to focus on other things. So the key takeaway for today is these two important dynamic duo, I'd call it, the go.mod and the go.sum. They could be tiny, but they are the backbone of your reproducible builds. So they should not be an afterthought, but they are critical for your infrastructure. And of course, they are allowing things into your project, but you should always have in mind and think about them a lot. Spot issues early. I have mentioned some of the issues that you could watch for. Slow builds. Build is taking a whole time. You go on coffee, come back, it's still building. You extend it to a lunch break, or a small application is having a blotted binary, like just a small application asking for an extra storage, or just mysterious errors that just come out of nowhere. So these kind of small issues are things that you could spot and try to see like this, your dependency needs attention. And we often talk about technical depth, but dependency depth is also a real thing. Regularly prune or tidy up the unused packages. And before you think about working with dependencies, of course, dependencies are third-party library. Think about try and say if the Go standard library is able to handle most of the things that you need. So if you find yourself trying to use a lot of this, you realize you depend on them a lot, and it becomes a whole mess when you try to clean up some of the unused vulnerable packages, and it introduces vulnerabilities in the long run. So this means your projects can be more slower and also riskier to build, and a little bit painful because you are adding a lot of things, and this is where dependency debt being a thing. And yes, automates. The best kind of dependency, maybe what you can pick up from today is the one you don't have to think about. It's able to check for you, when you integrate it, it's able to check for you the updates. It's able to do some security cons. It's it's mostly working with the pipelines and able to check some aspects of your project, making it easier to maintain and efficient, and also secure in the long run. So another thing is also document and test, especially for people who will be getting into the new project. They'll be able to see what are the design decisions that were made, and we have new updates coming, new versions coming. Always test before updating to the newer version or the most recent version. That will also help you to just try to keep everyone aligned, and throughout helps to avoid surprises that might arise, especially with the updates. And another thing is most important you can get from today is just build that habit of building that small habits of ensuring the dependencies or packages are well maintained, and not waiting for when everything is a whole mess, like the messy apartment that I gave an example. And that leads to an easier way to be able to maintain it, and also make your project more secure in the long run. And also it's also the small, consistent efforts that pay the most than that big heroic act. So this is this is a bit of a walkthrough, and I had a small Git minimalist project there, and my slides are found on this, and feel free to connect on LinkedIn and GitHub, and hope we can relate to some of the dependencies or some of the struggles, and I hope you enjoy the rest. And if there's any question, you can also feel free to ask me as well. Thank you.